Kemi the Leak Badenoch, or BAD-de-KNOCK, as she loves to have us say. Kemi, look at me, Badenoch. Kemi Machiavelli Badenoch, toxic Kem, Furine Kemi, showboat Kem, submarine Kem. These are just some of the many nicknames we at Labour have given to dearest Kemi. After all, she is a vile and vicious creature of many faces. If only she had as many accomplishments to match it. Up until only a few days ago, this was the Tory party's star candidate, but she was beaten by Robert Jenrick. I guess all that bullying and shouting didn't pay off. She will have to spend the next few days doing something she has always hated from day one, in sincerely schmoozing up to people and making friends. This is the key skill of any party leader. I struggle to think of any good qualities of Kemi. I'm not sure if this is just her public persona or if it's natural. But she doesn't have any friends, so that says a lot. Knowing her, she probably threw all of them under a bus, cut off their heads and stuck it on a stick for her own pleasure. From day one, Kemi has been all about showing how awesome she is without doing much. She marched into the House of Commons and used her baby in arms as a prop in a photo op when she was sworn in to show how tough she can be. Couldn't her stay-at-home husband Hamish have taken over for that day? Surely the grandparents could have stepped in, or has Kemi ruthlessly cut them off from visitation rights? When she was made vice chairman of candidates shortly after getting elected in 2017, she threw her husband under the bus when he wanted to be a candidate. She loves to repeat the story as if it was her Great War story. But it was clearly a publicity stunt to get much-needed brownie points within the party and her name onto the papers to build her brand. Let's look at it objectively. For someone who has said she relies on her husband as a sounding board, she must have known that he was interested in the role beforehand. But being the diva that she is, she acted surprised that his name was on the list. Now, I have heard some pretty pathetic lies during my time as a lawyer, and this ranks highly in my book. It is much more likely that Kemi and Hamish cooked up a cunning plan to have Hamish put his name forward and then use her position as vice chairman to take the oh-so-brave decision to cut him from the list. It was a plan as cunning as a fox who's just been appointed professor of cunning at Oxford University. We must all acknowledge that the last thing any henpecked husband with a dominating wife like Kemi would want is to see his wife throughout the day as well as the night. The last thing he would want is to be anywhere near the Tory party. Kemi does not care about the taxpayers' hard-earned monies. She once pushed civil servants in her department to arrange a paid-for detour to the US for a holiday and repeatedly used her taxpayer-funded ministerial car to take her to the gym and had them waiting there for hours. I'm not sure what use that was. Just look at her. She whipped her taxpayer-funded political advisors into glorified slaves, having them pack her suitcase and sending them on luxury shopping sprees for suits and buying presents for her kids. I guess that's what a degree buy you these days, a career in slavery while your name card states special advisor. People with degrees from lesser universities would have had more self-worth. Kemi reminds me of a rock star diva, only without the looks, talent, charisma or popularity to go with it. What happens when you spend much of your youth in the US? She's just a brat screaming for attention. From the outside, she may represent an alternative to the traditional white-haired, geriatric, beige-toned male MPs in the party. But underneath that exterior veneer, at the very core of her soul, Kemi represents everything vile about the Tory party post-Brexit. It's just going to be more loud, more complacent and more hateful. The prevalent mindset is that it's everybody's fault except Kemi. How could it be otherwise for this self-entitled bully? If Nigel Farage was a Tory MP, Kemi is what that version would look like. The Tory party doesn't need a merger with the Reform Party when you have got Kemi on your side. Kemi stayed silent on the recent riots rather than take to the airwaves as the rest of the candidates. She knew that if she took any side, it would hurt her brand. Her Twitter feed was eerily silent, much like her detractors, and those brutally sacked each time she threw one of her shit fits. I'm surprised her head didn't explode, as she seems to have embarked on a period of mental celibacy, abstaining from wanking off the thoughts floating in her hollow head to the rest of the country very publicly. This is not the sign of leadership quality, and Kemi has proven that when the going gets tough, Kemi submerges underground like a crocodile. She's mad, bad and dangerous, not to Labour, but to the Tory party. These are words that her own colleagues secretly refer to her as. If she becomes the leader of the party, I'm sure the backbenchers won't be confined to the back row. They would be hovering just behind her neck, plotting against her. She would be a lame duck leader. Instead of leading the opposition, she will be leading to put out fires from the constant infighting. The joke is that she will be the one causing the infighting in the first place.